The penthouse door slammed open like a thunderclap, shattering the fragile peace of the summer night. Aidan Harrington froze mid-kiss, his lips still brushing Elijah's, the taste of whiskey and forbidden promises lingering on his tongue. In that split second, as his father's shadow loomed in the doorway, Aidan knew his world, carefully hidden for years in the glittering underbelly of Manhattan, had just exploded into irreparable shards. Victor Harrington, the iron-fisted billionaire whose name evoked boardrooms and bailouts, stood there with a tablet clutched in his veined hand, the screen glowing like an accusation. His face, usually a mask of calculated calm, twisted into something primal, rage, yes, but laced with a betrayal that cut deeper than any merger gone sour. "What the hell is this?" Victor bellowed, his voice echoing off the exposed brick walls of Aidan's Soho loft, the very walls Aidan had painted himself to escape the sterile opulence of the family estate uptown. Aidan pulled back, his heart hammering against his ribs like a trapped bird. Elijah, with his tousled dark hair and those hazel eyes that always seemed to see right through the facade, reached for Aidan's hand instinctively, but Aidan yanked away, panic surging like acid in his veins. 3 years. 3 years of stolen weekends in dive bars and midnight runs along the Hudson, of whispered, "I love yous," in the shadow of the Brooklyn Bridge. And now, exposed under the unforgiving fluorescence of his father's gaze. Victor thrust the tablet forward, the security footage playing in merciless loop. Aidan and Elijah tangled in the back seat of a cab last month, oblivious to the world, their laughter muffled by the rain-streaked windows. "My own blood," Victor snarled, his South Carolina drawl thickening with disgust, a remnant of the old money roots that had built his empire. "Parading this filth in broad daylight. Do you have any idea what this could do to the Harrington legacy?" Aidan's throat tightened, the air thick with the scent of Elijah's cologne, sandalwood and salt, and the faint metallic tang of fear. He was 27, heir to a fortune forged in Wall Street wars, but in this moment, he felt like the scared kid hiding crushes on the lacrosse captain back at Andover. "Dad, it's not what? Not real." Victor's laugh was bitter, devoid of humor, as he advanced into the room, his polished loafers silent on the hardwood. Elijah stood now, his lean frame coiled like a spring, the barista apron from his day job still tucked into his back pocket, a stark reminder of the worlds colliding here. "I've had you watched for months, Aidan. Private investigators, the works. I thought you were spiraling, drugs, women, anything to explain why you'd throw away everything I've built. But this, sneaking around with some nobody from Brooklyn?" Elijah's jaw clenched, his fists balling at his sides. "Hey, I'm standing right here, asshole. And I'm not a nobody." His voice was steady, laced with that Brooklyn grit Aidan adored, the kind that made late-night arguments feel like foreplay. But Aidan saw the flicker of hurt beneath it, the vulnerability Elijah only showed in the quiet hours after lovemaking, when he'd trace Aidan's scars from a childhood of boarding schools and absent parents. "Enough!" Victor's command sliced through, authoritative as a gavel. He turned to Aidan, eyes narrowing. "Pack your things. We're leaving. Now." It wasn't a request. It was the decree of a man who bent markets to his will, who had once stared down a Senate subcommittee without flinching. Aidan's mind raced, fragments of a life unlived flashing before him. The family galas where he'd smile through gritted teeth, the endless parade of eligible heiresses his father paraded like show ponies, the suffocating expectation to marry, produce heirs, perpetuate the Harrington dynasty. Elijah was the rebellion, the breath of fresh air in a life choked by cigar smoke and contracts. But now, with Victor's spies having infiltrated even their most private moments, Aiden felt the walls closing in. "Dad, please," Aiden whispered, stepping forward, his voice cracking like thin ice. "This is my life. Elijah is your what? Your dirty little secret." Victor's words landed like punches, each one drawing invisible blood. He glanced at Elijah dismissively, as if he were a smudge on a priceless canvas. "Get out, kid, before I have security drag you." Elijah's eyes met Aiden's, a silent plea passing between them. "Stay, fight, run." But Aiden shook his head, the weight of generations pressing down. "Elijah, just go. I'll call you." The door clicked shut behind Elijah with a finality that echoed in Aiden's soul. Victor clapped a heavy hand on his son's shoulder, steering him toward the elevator like a wayward lamb. "You'll thank me one day, son. This ends tonight." As the city lights blurred into streaks from the descending car, Aiden pressed his forehead against the cool glass, tasting salt that wasn't from the rain. He didn't know it yet, but the real storm was just beginning, the kind that would unearth secrets buried deeper than any corporate vault, forcing vows neither he nor Elijah could have imagined. The drive back to the Upper East Side estate was a funeral procession in silence, the chauffeured Bentley slicing through Manhattan's veins like a scalpel. Victor stared out at the passing landmarks, the Empire State Building's defiant glow, the shadowed alleys of Chelsea where Aiden had first kissed Elijah under a street lamp's hesitant light. Aiden's phone buzzed incessantly in his pocket, Elijah's texts piling up like unanswered prayers. "What the fuck just happened? Aiden, talk to me. I love you. Don't let him win." But Aiden powered it off, the screen's death a small mercy. He couldn't face the raw honesty in Elijah's words, not when his father's presence filled the car like smoke. Victor finally broke the quiet as they pulled into the gated driveway, the estate's floodlights casting long shadows over manicured lawns that stretched like green oceans. "I've given you everything, Aiden." "Yell." "The corner office waiting at Harrington Global." "And this is how you repay me? By shaming us?" Aiden turned, his voice a low burn. "Shaming? Dad, I'm gay. It's not a choice or a phase. It's me. And Elijah. He's the best thing that's ever happened to me." Victor's grip tightened on the armrest, knuckles whitening. "Best thing? That barista with a rap sheet longer than my shareholder list? You think I didn't dig? Petty theft as a teen. Bounce checks. A family drowning in debt. He's using you, son." A Harrington meal ticket. The accusation stung, burrowing into Aiden's doubts like thorns. Elijah had been upfront about his past, the foster homes, the grind to put himself through community college. But in Victor's mouth, it twisted into something sordid. "You're wrong," Aiden muttered, but the words felt hollow even to him. Inside the estate, the marble foyer gleamed under chandeliers that cost more than most people's homes. Victor poured 2 scotches from a crystal decanter, handing one to Aiden with a forced steadiness. "Drink. Then listen." He sank into a leather armchair, the patriarch reclaiming his throne. "I've spent a lifetime building this. Your grandfather clawed out of the Depression. I turned it into billions. I won't let some fling torch it all." Aiden sipped, the burn grounding him. "It's not a fling. And spying on me? Hiring PIs? That's not protection. Dad, that's control." Victor's eyes hardened, The blue steel of a man who'd crushed unions and competitors alike. Control keeps us alive in this city. Without it, you're prey. He paused, swirling his glass, the ice clinking like chains. But I see now it's too late for lectures. There's something else. Aiden's pulse quickened. The way Victor said it, hedged, almost reluctant, set alarms blaring. What do you mean? His father set the glass down, leaning forward. One of the investigators turned up more than footage. Elijah Kane? His real name's Elias Kane Jr. And his father. God help us. He's Marco Voss's bastard son. The name hit Aiden like a freight train. Marco Voss, the disgraced financier who'd nearly tanked Harrington Global a decade ago with insider trading scandals. The man Victor had personally buried in court, stripping him of everything but grudges. Voss had vanished into obscurity, rumored to be plotting revenge from some offshore hole. That's impossible, Aiden breathed. Elijah never mentioned it? Of course not. Victor's smile was grim. But blood doesn't lie. Voss's wife left him for a one-night stand with some Brooklyn nobody. Kid was born 9 months later. DNA doesn't lie either. The PI confirmed it with a discreet test from Elijah's coffee cup at that dive he works in. Aiden's world tilted. Elijah, with his easy laugh and calloused hands from steaming lattes, carrying the shadow of a vendetta? It explained the occasional flinches at mentions of Wall Street, the way he'd dodge questions about family. But revenge? No. That couldn't be the man who'd held Aiden through panic attacks, who'd sketched silly portraits of them as old queens ruling the city. You're lying, Aiden accused, but his voice wavered. Victor's gaze softened, just a fraction, the closest he came to tenderness. I wish I were. Boss is back, son. Whispers in the trades. He's rallying old allies, gunning for us. If word gets out you're entangled with his blood, it'll be war. Legal, public, ugly. The kind that destroys legacies. Aiden paced, the scotch sloshing in his glass. Betrayal layered upon betrayal. His father's surveillance. Elijah's hidden lineage. Yet beneath the shock, a fierce protectiveness bloomed. Elijah wasn't a pawn. He was the one pure thing in this gilded cage. What now? Aiden demanded, stopping to face his father. Victor rose, clapping his hands once. Decisive. We neutralize it. Marry him off. Tonight, if we have to. A quick ceremony. Make it legitimate. Then a quiet annulment once the heat dies. Voss can't touch a Harrington son-in-law without implicating his own. Aiden choked on the words. Marry? Me? To Elijah. Victor's nod was ironclad. It's the only way to bind him to us. Protection under the law. Optics for the press. Call it a shotgun wedding for the digital age. The room spun, absurdity clashing with inevitability. Aiden's phone, resurrected in his pocket, lit up with Elijah's call. He answered on instinct, Victor watching like a hawk. Aiden? What the hell? Man, your dad, he's a monster. Aiden's voice broke. Elijah, listen. There's something you need to know about your father. The line went silent. Then Elijah's whisper, Marco Voss? Yeah. I knew. And I never told you because I didn't want to lose this. Us. The confession hung, raw and real, as Victor loomed closer, the machinery of empire grinding toward an unholy union. Elijah's voice cracked over the line, a fragile thread stretched taut across the miles between Brooklyn and the Upper East Side. Aiden, I swear, it wasn't about revenge. Marco, he's a ghost, a name on a birth certificate I burned years ago. My mom raised me alone, scraping by on tips and temp jobs. I didn't even meet the bastard until I was 18, and that was just to tell him to fuck off. Aiden gripped the phone like a lifeline, Victor's presence a suffocating heat at his back. The estate's library, with its walls lined in first editions and forgotten deals, felt like a courtroom now, the air heavy with judgment. Why hide it? Aiden asked, his tone softer than he intended, laced with the ache of fresh wounds. We promised no secrets. A bitter laugh from Elijah, edged with tears Aiden could almost taste. Because every time I opened my mouth, I saw the Harrington in you, the golden boy, untouchable. How do you drop, oh, by the way, my sperm donor tried to bankrupt your family into pillow talk? I chose us over that mess. Chose you. Victor's hand clamped on Aiden's shoulder, a silent command to wrap it up. Aiden shrugged him off, striding to the French doors overlooking the garden, where fireflies danced like hesitant stars. My dad's here. He knows everything. The footage, the PI. And now this, a sharp intake of breath. He spied on us? That sick fuck. Elijah's anger flared, hot and protective, the same fire that had ignited their first real fight and makeup in a cramped East Village apartment, bodies slick with sweat and apologies. Tell him to shove his legacy. I'm coming over. We face this together. No, Aiden said too quickly, the word tasting like ash. Victor's plans swirled in his mind, absurd yet inexorable. A wedding, vows exchanged not in joy but in strategy. It was madness, a billionaire's chess move dressed in tuxedos and rings. Yet beneath the revulsion, a treacherous spark, imagining Elijah as his, legally, eternally, no more hiding in shadows. Victor leaned in, murmuring low. Tell him to meet us at the courthouse. Dawn. Or I leak it all, the affair, the blood tie. Voss gets wind, and it's game over for both of you. Aiden's stomach twisted. Blackmail from his own father, the man who'd taught him integrity over brandy and board games. Elijah, he said, voice steadying with resolve. Meet me at City Hall. 5 a.m. Don't ask why, just come. The pause stretched, filled with the hum of Brooklyn traffic filtering through Elijah's end. Aiden. What are we doing? Surviving, Aiden whispered. For us. He hung up, turning to Victor with eyes like flint. This changes nothing between me and him. You get your shield. We get our life. Victor's smile was a predator's, all teeth and no warmth. Life, son, this is business. Now, get some rest. The jet's fueling for a honeymoon detour to the Caymans. If Voss's goons sniff around. Aiden stormed upstairs, the master suite a prison of silk sheets and family portraits glaring from the walls. He collapsed onto the bed, the mattress swallowing him like quicksand. Sleep evaded, chased by visions. Elijah's laugh echoing in Central Park, their fingers intertwined during a Pride March Aiden had attended in disguise, the way Elijah's body fit against his like a missing rib. And now, this forced sacrament, twisting love into leverage. Across the river, Elijah paced his tiny Bushwick walk-up, the walls papered in sketches, mostly of Aiden, captured in stolen moments of vulnerability. The call had gutted him, Marco Voss's shadow creeping back like a bad dream. He'd confronted the man once, In a dingy Queen's diner, Voss's eyes cold as he offered hush money. "Keep quiet, kid, or your Harrington boyfriend learns the truth." Elijah had walked out, but the fear lingered, a low hum beneath every kiss. Now, staring at the rumpled bed they shared on weekends, Elijah grabbed a duffel. Essentials only: jeans, a faded Ramones tee, the silver chain Aiden had given him last Christmas, engraved with "always." Dawn couldn't come soon enough. If this was the end, he'd go down fighting, with Aiden's name on his lips. By 4:30 a.m., the city stirred under a bruised sky, Manhattan's arteries pulsing with early risers and night owls. Victor's driver deposited Aiden at the steps of City Hall, the neoclassical facade looming like a wedding cake baked in irony. Aiden, in a hastily donned gray suit, shivered against the chill, his breath fogging the air. No flowers, no best man, just a notary on retainer and a marriage license procured with a phone call and a wire transfer. Elijah arrived on foot, subway rumpled, his leather jacket zipped against the wind, eyes scanning until they locked on Aiden. He bounded up the steps, pulling Aiden into a fierce hug that smelled of coffee grounds and resolve. "You look like hell," Elijah murmured into Aiden's neck, his hands roaming possessively, grounding them both. Aiden pulled back, searching those hazel depths for doubt, finding only fire. "I love you," he said, the words a vow before the vows. "Whatever happens in there, it's us against the world." Harrington. Elijah's grin was lopsided, defiant. "Always has been." Victor emerged from the shadows then, flanked by a stone-faced lawyer and a photographer, discreet, for the leaks Victor would control. "Shall we?" he said, as if ushering them to a board meeting. The ceremony was a blur of legalese and fluorescent lights, the notary's voice droning like a bad hangover. Aiden's hand trembled as he slid the plain gold band onto Elijah's finger, the metal cool against warm skin. "I do," he murmured, meaning it more than the script required. Elijah's "I do" came fierce, his thumb brushing Aiden's in a secret caress. Paperwork signed. Photos snapped. Victor directing like a film auteur. "Smile, boys. Make it look real." As they stepped into the dawn light, certificates in hand, Elijah leaned in, lips brushing Aiden's ear. "Husband. Feels weird. Good weird." Aiden's laugh was shaky, relief mingling with dread. "Yeah. But my dad's not done. He thinks this ties you to us, protection from Voss." Elijah stiffened, pulling back. "And if I don't want his protection? If I just want you? No strings, no empires?" The question hung, unanswered, as Victor's limo purred to the curb. "To the airport," he announced. "Honeymoon awaits. Think of it as house arrest with piña coladas." Aiden boarded with Elijah in tow, the jet's leather seats a far cry from the Greyhound they'd taken to Fire Island last summer. As the plane climbed, leaving New York below like a discarded sketch, Elijah's hand found Aiden's under the blanket. "Tell me this isn't the end of us," he whispered, vulnerability cracking his bravado. Aiden squeezed, heart aching. "It's the beginning. But Dad's playing chess, and we're the pawns." Little did they know, Victor's discovery ran deeper. An encrypted email from the PI, forwarded in haste. Voss wasn't just plotting. He had insiders in Harrington Global, and Elijah's marriage was the perfect Trojan horse. The real game had just begun, with love as the unwitting weapon. Turbulence hit over the Atlantic, the jet bucking like a wild thing, mirrors of the storm brewing inside Aiden. He and Elijah retreated to the aft cabin, the door clicking shut on Victor's world. For the first time since the loft implosion, they were alone, husbands, by law if not by heart. Elijah pushed Aiden against the bulkhead, kiss-hungry and reclaiming. "Mine," he growled between breaths, hands mapping familiar territory with renewed urgency. Aiden melted into it, shedding the suit jacket, the weight of rings clinking softly. Clothes pooled on the carpeted floor, bodies colliding in a tangle of limbs and low moans, the engine's hum masking their symphony. After, spent and sated, they lay entwined, Elijah's head on Aiden's chest, listening to the thud of his pulse. "This ring," Elijah said, twisting it in the dim light, "it's like a handcuff. Beautiful, but binding." Aiden traced the line of Elijah's jaw, memorizing the stubble's rasp. "Better than a noose. At least we're chained together." Elijah propped up. "I serious. Talk to me about Voss. What did your dad say?" "Exactly." Aiden hesitated, the words sticking like tar. "He thinks you're a threat by association. That Voss used you to get close. To you? To sabotage." Elijah sat up, sheets pooling at his waist, hurt flashing raw. "Aiden, I cut ties with that monster years ago. He tried to pay me off. Yeah. But I told him where to shove it. If I'd wanted revenge, I'd have gone after him myself. Not fallen for his enemy's son." The fallen hung heavy, a confession wrapped in pain. Aiden reached out, but Elijah flinched, a betrayal's echo. "I believe you," Aiden said, pulling him close. "But Dad's paranoid. He sees enemies in every shadow." Elijah's laugh was hollow. "Paranoid? Or right, maybe this wedding's just another cage for both of us." The words landed like a slap, stirring the embers of doubt Victor had planted. As the jet leveled into smoother skies, Aiden stared at the ceiling, wondering if love could weather a legacy storm, or if it would drown them both. The Caymans gleamed like a fever dream under the Caribbean sun, turquoise waters lapping at white sands, palm fronds whispering secrets to the trade winds. But for Aiden and Elijah, the honeymoon suite at the Harrington-owned resort felt less paradise, more exile. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed the infinity pool, but the view couldn't drown out the undercurrent of tension. Victor's daily check-ins via satellite phone, a digital leash. Day 1. They tried normalcy, snorkeling in coral gardens, Elijah's laughter bubbling through his regulator as they chased iridescent fish, hands linked underwater like an anchor. On the beach, Aiden slathered sunscreen on Elijah's back, fingers lingering on the tattoo, a Brooklyn Bridge silhouette, inked the night they'd first said, "Forever." To us, Elijah toasted with rum punches at sunset, clinking glasses, his eyes holding Aiden's with a promise that defied the farce. But night fell heavy, the king bed a battlefield of unspoken fears. Elijah woke sweating from nightmares, Voss's face morphing into Victor's, both demanding allegiance. Aiden soothed him with touches and murmurs, but the seed of fracture had taken root. "Your dad's winning," Elijah confessed at dawn, as they watched the horizon bleed pink. "Turning us against each other." Aiden's jaw tightened, the ring on his finger suddenly leaden. "He's losing me. Every day." He meant it, the rebellion solidifying like concrete. Yet guilt gnawed. Elijah, collateral in a war not his making. Back in New York, Victor paced his Park Avenue war room, screens flickering with market feeds and surveillance feeds. The PI's email burned in his inbox. Voss confirmed active. Targets, Harrington heir. Leverage, son-in-law. Victor's fist clenched. He'd built an empire on preemption, and this marriage was his firewall. But doubt crept in Aiden's eyes, so like his late wife's, defiant in a way Victor's control couldn't touch. For the first time, the billionaire wondered if legacy meant more than ledgers. On day 3, the idol cracked. A courier arrived with a manila envelope, Victor's seal unbroken. Inside, dossiers on Voss's movements, grainy photos of a man in a fedora shadowing the resort's perimeter. And a note, threat level elevated. Accelerate integration. Bring him into the fold. Elijah snatched it first, scanning the intel with a barista's speed read. His face paled. This is bullshit. That's not a goon. It's a gardener. Your dad's manufacturing panic. Aiden grabbed the photos, heart sinking at the implications. Or it's real. Elijah, if Voss is coming, for me or for you? Elijah's voice rose, echoing off the villa's teak walls. Admit it, Aiden, this wedding was a trap. Bind me legally so he can bury me in NDAs. Turn me into some asset to flip. The accusation ignited. Aiden's temper flaring. A rarity, but potent. You think I'd let that happen? I said, I do because I meant it. Not for his games. Elijah laughed, sharp and wounded. Meant it, or meant survival? We've been playing house since the courthouse. But it's all props, rings, rooms, this fucking resort. When do we get real? They stood inches apart, breaths mingling hot and ragged, the air charged like pre-thunder. Aiden closed the gap, kissing Elijah with desperate force, a collision of need and fury. It escalated fast, hands fisting shirts, bodies slamming against the balcony rail, the ocean's roar drowning their gasps. Lovemaking turned cathartic, a reclaiming amid the ruins, Elijah's nails raking Aiden's back as if to mark territory. Spent, they collapsed onto the lounger, sweat slick and staring at the stars. I'm sorry, Aiden whispered, tracing Elijah's knuckles. For dragging you into this. Elijah turned, eyes soft in the moonlight. I'd follow you anywhere, idiot. Even to your dad's dungeon. But we need a plan. Outmaneuver him. Aiden nodded, the spark of alliance reigniting. First, we talk to Voss. Get his side. End this at the source. Elijah's flinch was visceral. Confront my father, the man who bought silence with blood money. Better than running. Aiden's resolve hardened. We're married now. Partners. His spies. Your secrets, no more hiding. The decision settled like a pact sealed in salt air. By morning, they chartered a prop plane to Miami, then a red-eye to New York, Victor none the wiser, his check-ins dodged with vague beach selfies. The city welcomed them back with autumn bite, leaves skittering like warnings across Central Park West. They holed up in Elijah's Bushwick place, the familiarity a balm, mismatched furniture from stoop sales, the fridge stocked with craft beers and takeout remnants. No PIs here, Elijah's turf, warded by graffiti and grit. Over cold pizza at the scarred kitchen table, they plotted. Voss's last known, a dive in Red Hook, Elijah said, pulling up contacts from a burner phone he'd kept since 18. I can get a meet. Tell him the Harringtons want terms. Aiden's gut twisted. And if he wants blood? Elijah's grin was fierce. Then we give him ink. Legally bind him out, like your dad tried with me. The meet was set for midnight, a warehouse bar reeking of stale hops and regret. Voss waited in a corner booth, older than his photos, 60-something, jowly, with eyes like chipped flint. He rose as they approached, sizing Elijah up with paternal disdain. Son. Didn't think you'd show balls enough to bring the enemy. Elijah slid into the seat, Aiden flanking him like a shield. Not your son. And he's not the enemy, you are. What do you want? Marco? Harrington stock? My husband's head on a platter. Voss's laugh wheezed, ordering whiskeys with a nod. Bold. Marriage? Victor's desperate play. His gaze sharpened on Aiden. Kid, your old man's the devil I know. But me, I just want what's mine. Reparations for the frame job that cost me everything. Aiden leaned in, voice level. Prove it. Documents. Witnesses. We take it public. Clean. Voss's fingers drummed the table, calculating. And if I say no, your boy's my leverage now. Blood calls to blood. Elijah's hand found Aiden's under the table, squeezing. Try it. See how fast a Kane-Harrington alliance buries you. The standoff stretched, tension coiling like smoke. Voss finally slid a USB drive across. Everything's there. But cross me, and the real dirt spills Victor's skeletons. Not mine. They left with the drive. The night air crisp against flushed skin. In a cab hurtling up the FDR, Elijah slumped against Aiden. That was insane. But we did it. Aiden kissed his temple, triumph buzzing. Teamwork, but back at the loft, betrayal awaited. Victor's limo idled outside. The man himself on the stoop, face thunderous. Traitors, he spat as they emerged. Meeting Voss? I have eyes everywhere. Aiden's blood ran cold. How? GPS on the jet. And your new husband? His phone's been pinging my servers since the wedding. Victor's eyes bored into Elijah. You think you can play me? Elijah stepped forward, chin up. Played? Nah. We're ending your game. Victor's hand shot out, grabbing Elijah's collar, a father's rage unchecked. Aiden lunged, shoving him back. Touch him again, and it's over. Disown me. I don't care. The scuffle drew stares from passers-by, Victor straightening his tie with dignity's remnants. Over? Boy, you just handed Voss the keys. That drive is bait. He's got counters, faked, but damaging. And now, with you two hitched, it'll all trace back. Scandal of the century. Harrington Airwed's vendetta spawn. Aiden's world fractured anew. Elijah's face ashen beside him. The discovery that forced the wedding had birthed a monster. Trust eroded. Love weaponized. As Victor stormed off, tires screeching, Aiden pulled Elijah close amid the sidewalk chaos. We'll fix this, he vowed, but the words tasted like lies. High above, in the penthouse's glow, Victor poured a drink, alone with his victory's cost. For the first time, the empire felt hollow. The fallout hit like a Category 5, winds howling through Harrington Global's towers and into every tabloid feed. By noon, Victor's leak, carefully curated Voss evidence, splashed across page 6. Billionaire son in secret gay wedding to mobster's heir? Grainy courthouse photos, twisted narratives, stock dips in red ink. Aiden's phone exploded, board members demanding explanations, society friends ghosting, his mother's old bridge club clucking from the Hamptons. They barricaded in the Soho loft, blinds drawn against paparazzi flashes like distant lightning. Elijah paced, USB clutched like a grenade. "This is war," he muttered, booting up his ancient laptop to decrypt the files. Aiden watched, slumped on the couch, the weight of rings now a noose. "We should have run," he said, voice hollow. "To Canada, Mexico, anywhere." Elijah knelt before him, hands on knees, eyes fierce. "And leave what? Your life? Mine's shit without you." He cupped Aiden's face, thumbs brushing stubble. "We're fighters, babe. Remember that rally in 22? Stonewalled the cops for hours. This is just another protest." Aiden leaned into the touch, drawing strength from Elijah's unyielding warmth. Their lovemaking that afternoon was slow, deliberate, a liturgy of touches mapping hurt and healing, bodies affirming what words couldn't. Afterward, tangled in sheets, Elijah's voice muffled against Aiden's shoulder. "I never wanted this drama. Just you, coffee runs, maybe a dog someday." Aiden's laugh choked. "A rescue mutt. Yeah. And a brownstone in bed, Stewie, with a garden for your sketches." The vision pierced, a future glimpsed then shrouded. The files revealed Voss's hand. Forged emails implicating Victor in the old scandal setup, timestamps manipulated to frame collusion. But buried deeper, a gem. Audio of Voss confessing to the PI, Victor's plant, admitting the whole vendetta was smoke. Leverage for a payout. Voss slurred in the clip, drunk on cheap bourbon. Harrington's boy, clean as a whistle. Kid's just a barista with bad luck. Vindication, but Pyrrhic. Elijah hooped, pulling Aiden into a victory spin. "We got him. Leak this." And Victor's forced to backpedal. But doubt lingered. "Dad knows it's fake," Aiden said, sinking back. "He planted it to flush us out. This wedding. It was never protection. It was to own you, break me." Elijah's face darkened, the betrayal sinking claws. "Then we go nuclear." Press conference. Air it all, spying, blackmail, the gay panic bullshit. Aiden hesitated, the Harrington in him recoiling at public laundry. But Elijah's gaze, loving, unyielding, tipped the scale. "Together," Aiden agreed. "Always." They prepped in feverish bursts. Calls to a queer-friendly lawyer from Aiden's old network, a reporter ally at the Advocate who'd covered their wedding with sly sympathy. By evening, the loft buzzed with purpose, takeout forgotten as they scripted truths into weapons. Victor struck first, summoning Aiden to the estate under truce flag. The driver dropped him at dusk, Elijah's warning kiss lingering like armor. "Don't let him gaslight you." The foyer felt colder, portraits judging. Victor waited in the study, decanter half empty, face haggard, vulnerability cracking the facade. "Sit," he commanded, but softer. Aiden perched on the desk's edge, defiant. "You've ruined us," Victor started, but his eyes, red-rimmed, betrayed exhaustion. Stocks down 15%. Investors fleeing. And for what? A boy. Aiden's temper ignited. A husband. That. And yeah, for love. Something your billions can't buy. Victor's laugh was weary. "Love? I loved once. Your mother. She saw through the suits, made me laugh at galas. When she died, I armored up. For you. To keep the wolves out." The confession stunned, humanizing the titan. Aiden softened, fractionally. Then why the spies? The threats? Fear? Victor's admission hung raw. Voss whispered in my ear years ago, threatened to out you before you were ready. I watched to protect, but it twisted. The wedding. I thought it'd force your hand, make you choose us. Choose, Aiden echoed, rising. I chose you every day, hiding who I am, playing the air. But Elijah, he sees me. The real me. Victor's gaze dropped to the rings, twin golds glinting. He's Voss's blood. He's mine. Aiden's voice broke. And if you can't accept that, walk away. But don't destroy us to cling to ghosts. He left Victor in silence. The doors click a gauntlet thrown. Back at the loft, Elijah enveloped him, sensing the turmoil. What happened? Aiden recounted, collapsing into embrace. He's breaking, but not bending. Then we bend him. Elijah's resolve was steel. The presser was set for morning city hall steps, dawn light for symbolism. Night deepened, their bodies seeking solace in rhythm. Elijah atop, slow grinds building to crescendo. Aiden's gasps prayers of surrender. I love you, Elijah breathed at peak, collapsing into afterglow. Aiden held him, tears silent. Forever. Dawn broke gray. Protesters already gathering. Queer activists waving signs. Love wins. Harrington. Aiden and Elijah emerged hand in hand. Microphones thrust like spears. My name is Aiden Harrington, he began. Voice steady. Elijah's grip anchor. And today, I'm done hiding. The confession poured. The spying. The forced wedding. Voss's frame exposed via the audio played live. Gasps rippled. Cameras whirring. Elijah stepped up, arm around Aiden. I'm not a villain's son. I'm a husband. And love like ours? It topples empires. Victor watched from a distant car. Screen live streaming the spectacle. Pride warred with grief. His son, radiant in truth. Elijah's arm a steadying force. The old man wept. Alone. The dam breaking. But Voss, lurking in shadows, saw opportunity twist to ash. His phone buzzed. Anonymous tip. Harrington's folding. Game over. As cheers erupted, Aiden kissed Elijah publicly, defiantly, the crowd roaring. Victory tasted sweet, but fragile, echoes of betrayal lingering in the applause. Yet in that moment, under New York's unforgiving sky, they were unbreakable. The press conference's aftershocks rippled outward like stones in the Hudson, reshaping shorelines long eroded by secrecy. By midday, Harrington Global stocks rebounded. Investors charmed by the bold transparency, spin Victor's PR machine hastily deployed. Voss slunk back to obscurity, his fabricated dirt debunked. A quiet settlement wired from Victor's accounts, hush money with teeth, courtesy of the lawyer's ironclad cease and desist. But for Aiden and Elijah, the real reckoning brewed in the estate's solarium, where sunlight filtered through orchids like hesitant forgiveness. Victor had called a summit. Neutral ground, tea service laid out, no lawyers, just family, fractured, but mending. Aiden arrived first, Elijah's hand in his, the rings now symbols of triumph. Victor rose from a wicker chair, older in the light, lines etched deeper than balance sheets. Sit, he said, gesturing to the settee, voice stripped of command. I owe you words. Elijah hung back, wary, but Aiden pulled him down, a united front. Then speak. That. No games. Victor's hands trembled, pouring Earl Grey, steam curling like ghosts. I was wrong. About the spying, the wedding, all of it. His eyes met Elijah's, tentative. You, son-in-law. I saw a threat. But yesterday, watching you stand there, fierce for him, that was strength. The kind I lost after your grandmother. Elijah's throat bobbed, surprise softening his edges. Mr. Harrington. Victor, the man corrected, olive branch. And call it what it was, bigotry wrapped in fear. I built walls to protect, but they caged us all. Aiden's chest loosened, the boy in him craving this absolution. Why now? The scandal could have buried you. Victor smiled faintly, rueful. Empires fall. But family? That's the real fortune. He slid a folder across, deeds to a Brooklyn brownstone. Aiden's name beside Elijah's. No strings. A start. And therapy for me. If you'll have me. The gesture pierced, tears pricking Aiden's eyes. Elijah glanced at him, then nodded. We will. But slow. Trusts earned. The afternoon unfolded tentatively. Stories swapped over scones. Victor's courtship of Aiden's mom. A whirlwind of jazz clubs and stolen weekends. Elijah's mom. A single warrior battling bills with bedtime tales of knights who loved knights. Laughter crept in. Fragile bridges over chasms. As dusk painted the garden gold, Victor clasped Aiden's shoulder. Proud of you, son. Him too. To Elijah, welcome to the madness. Alone later, in the brownstone's echoing halls, bare walls begging for art, Aiden and Elijah explored their gift. Hardwood creaked underfoot, a bay window framing the street's hum. Hours, Elijah breathed, spinning Aiden in a clumsy waltz. No PIs, no plots. Aiden pulled him close, foreheads touching. Just us. The kiss deepened, wandering hands igniting familiar fire. They christened the space on the floor, amid dust motes dancing like confetti, bodies arching in unhurried reverence. Elijah's whispers of mine, a mantra, Aiden's responses gasps of release. Weeks blurred into rhythm. Aiden consulting at the firm, Elijah opening a coffee cart in Prospect Park. Their mornings tangled in sheets, evenings sketching dreams. Pride Month approached, and they planned a vow renewal, real this time, on that rooftop where the image of their love first etched eternal. But humanity's arc bends slow, not all mended clean. Victor attended therapy, grudgingly, sharing sessions with Aiden raw dissections of grief's armor. One night, over whiskey in the study, he confessed, I outed myself once. You know. College. A roommate. Buried it deep. Thought it'd make me strong. Aiden's hand stilled on the glass. And now, Victor's shrug was weary wisdom. Stronger letting it breathe. Like you. Elijah warmed to him gradually, barbecue Sundays. Victor manning the grill with Brooklyn awkwardness. Burning ribs but earning laughs. You're all right, Pops, Elijah teased once, clapping his back. Victor's grin, genuine, lit the yard. The renewal dawned stormy, true to form, rain sheeting the city, but they ascended the Soho roof undeterred. Officiant a drag queen friend with a voice like velvet thunder. Guests sparse, queer chosen family, a smattering of Harrington allies who'd evolved. Victor stood witness, eyes misty. Vows exchanged anew. Aiden's, in shadows and storms, I choose you, holy, holy. Elijah's. From dive bars to empires. You're my horizon. Forever. Rings slid on, new, etched with bridges. The kiss sealed it, rain mingling with tears, cheers rising as lightning cracked applause. After, in the loft's warmth, towels and champagne, they reflected. From force to found, Elijah mused, tracing Aiden's ring. Aiden smiled, pulling him down. Human, after all. Months later, the brownstone bloomed, walls hung with Elijah's portraits, Aiden laughing in sunlight, Victor tentative in a family shot. The rescue mutt, a scruffy terrier named Bridge, curled at their feet. Victor visited, less mogul, more man, sharing stories, not strategies. One evening, as snow dusted the sill, Aiden proposed a toast. To discoveries, not the spying kind, but the hearts. Elijah clinked, I sparkling. To weddings that stick. Victor, via video from his now cozy office, raised a glass remotely. To family. All of it. In the quiet that followed, Aiden held Elijah close. The cities pulsed their lullaby. Betrayals faded scars. Conflicts forged steel. Romance a steady flame. They'd spied. Forced. Fractured but emerged whole. Human in America's vast, unforgiving tapestry. Love, turned out, wasn't conquered. It conquered. And in that truth, they built their legacy not of billions, but of belonging.